so that we can start our study session. All righty. I have my apologies for Rita. She's not in town, so she won't be on today. I have item number 9. I am going to call that one ready. Counselor Bay.
Thank you, Madam President. I have items number 10 through 17. Items number 10, 11, and 12 will be held till the public hearing on June 7th. The other items 13 through 17 are license agreements with a number of vendors. This past committee, this is for the location on the corner of Salina and MLK. Temporary licenses for vendors. If any of my colleagues have any questions, please feel free. All right, if not, Madam President, I'll call those items ready.
Thank you. Counselor Green.
Thank you, Madam President. Items 18, 19, and 20 are legal settlement that we can and will discuss in executive session. If you want to pick up, I guess, with the next ones, which are 21 and 22, Verizon agreements, someone can just walk through the counselors on those items. I don't know if anyone from IT is available or if any counselors have any questions.
Councilor Green, Frank Leva, the city's chief administrative officer. Happy to answer any questions on 22 and 23. These are relatively straightforward, just needing to maintain and upgrade our infrastructure and needing, in one case, Verizon. Cogent is we need to expand the total cost by $1,800. That is a backup internet service. There was a billing error between 2 fiscal years, and this $1,800 resolves that billing error.
Hey, Frank. Sorry. Caught up with it. It was this year, and we need to be able to pay more than our not to exceed amount just to get caught up. The Verizon is a permission to enter into a contract with them. You have to enter a contract anytime you go utilize their infrastructure. We have rights because they have their pipes in our right of way, but we still have to enter into a contract to pay for any of their engineering costs. And the last one is a spectrum install at 4 community centers. These are non-city owned, non-city operated community centers that we're going to be operating, adding Wi-Fi coverage to the exterior of the buildings. And that's the purpose of those spectrum contracts.
Is it 4 or 5? Because the book says 5.
5, I'm sorry, 5.
Any other questions on those items?
Counselor, when is the executive session you mentioned? Is that today?
I believe it is, right, Jim?
Yeah, I scheduled it for 1:45, but just basically when this ends, we'll hop on that one.
I'm not sure I got the notification, Jimmy, but so, okay.
Okay. And then
We're sending it to you right now, Councilor Hogan.
And then item 25, we do have that's a longer discussion, so we could set up its own committee meeting to go over that, which I can't remember when we have that.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay, so that'll be
scheduled for tomorrow. Yep.
So those are my items. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Counselor Kearney.
Thank you, Madam President. I have items through 42. 26 and 27 appear to be companion pieces for pump station. Is someone from water here to speak to those items?
Yes, Commissioner Awald here. Those, I don't have the list in front of me. Just driving back from a dentist appointment. So it's the Brighton pump station is what 26 and 27 are?
Mostly, I believe.
All right, Mosley, correct. So the Mosley Pump Station, we're looking to bond and authorize to go out for design services to replace the Mosley Pump Station along with 2 transmission mains along, new one along Glen Cove and a replacement along Sunnycrest to connect our 2 pressure districts in that area. Any questions? All right, I think the next 2 items are for the chlorine replacement down in Skinny Atlas.
The next 2 items,
Same.
yes. the companion pieces.
So then chlorine replacement, we're looking to bond and authorize for the design services for the chlorine replacement facility down at Skinny Atlas Lake. Currently, we use chlorine gas to disinfect the water coming from the lake to the city. We're looking to replace that with a liquid solution. That way it's a little more, it's much safer than the chlorine gas. Any questions on that?
Yeah, when you say safer, Joe, what are the hazards with gas versus the liquid solution?
So chlorine gas is very caustic, very corrosive. If you have a gas leak, it's a major safety concern because breathing in any kind of chlorine gas can kill you. Liquid solution, if the liquid tanks leak, they're in a containment dike inside the building and we can neutralize the liquid. So that way we're keeping our employees safer by using the liquid and the surrounding community as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
The next item is the sewer project. Is there someone that can speak to that from DPW?
How you doing, Councilor Carney? This is Commissioner Robinson over at DPW. This is just our CIP monies that help us with our sanitary and storm sewer reconstruction. It's pretty self-explanatory. Every year we usually we use this monies to help us reconstruct some of our sewer systems.
Commissioner
Any-
Robinson, can I ask you a question and you may not have the answer, but just offhand, and I know we have a lot of manholes and sewer systems through our city. Do we keep track of that and do we know how many we have and how many we've replaced and how many more we have to replace?
Do we keep track of how many we have in the city?
Yes.
I'm quite sure we do. I just don't have it off the top of my head. But
Do
yeah,
we know how many we've replaced?
I gave a list to the council, was that a couple days ago, how many we replaced in a year.
I'm talking overall, because how often do these manholes and liners and things need to actually, what's the lifespan of them?
I wouldn't have that off the top of my head, President Hudson, but I can definitely get back to you on that.
Okay, and then when you do, can you tell me how many we've actually replaced to date? And I'm not just saying under your watch, I'm saying how many have actually been replaced to date.
Yeah, I can try to get as much information on that as possible.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions on this item? Okay, I'm gonna call this one ready. And the next is the new company that we're doing for the bike share program. Is there someone that can speak to this item?
Yeah, this is Neil Burke, Transportation Planner with DPW. Number 31 is related to the selection of Vail Ride, Inc. to operate the Syracuse Sync program. The Sync program is our bike share and micro-mobility share program. We previously exited the contract with Gotcha due to a number of reasons. And we put out an RFP. This was the selection made unanimously by the committee. And if there's any questions, happy to answer it.
So is this going to be the same type of setup as the Gotcha bike company? I'm assuming it would be different bikes though, but as far as location.
Yes, Councilor Allen, this company actually specializes in taking over for Gotcha, it seems. They've done so in about 13 other markets. So we're going to pick up where we left off with Gotcha and then focus on expanding and offering more services out in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Neil, will there'll be some sort of meeting with, I imagine, where you're going to chart out your plans when you decide to expand, that all us councilors will be invited to?
Yeah, as plans develop, as other options are available, we're going to look to get feedback from the community, share that information as wide as possible, including with the council.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no other questions, I'm ready. Next two items, 32 and 33, are street sweeping. 32 is public hearing. 33 is the public. So I'm going to call 32 ready, and I'm going to hold 33. Here's 34, and the remaining items are engineering. Is there someone they could speak to those items?
Good afternoon, councilors. This is Mary Robison, city engineer. 34 through 36 are related to our TIP project for the pedestrian improvements. We are requesting to amend the ordinance and the agreement with New York State DOT and the project authorization for to add the construction and construction inspection phase for a total of $1.304 million. This is 100% reimbursable, so the total project cost will be $1,630,000. With this project, we are going to be upgrading 80 of our uncontrolled pedestrian crossings, and an uncontrolled crossing is one that has no stop signs and no traffic signals, so like a mid-block crossing, which we're going to be upgrading all of these in the city. There are approximately 80. And then our next priority is to start improving the pedestrian crossings at the intersections. So we plan to do approximately 60 of those pedestrian crossing improvements. The intersection work will be, a lot of it will be, we focused on where the most pedestrian traffic is, so a lot of it will be downtown, but then we are also hitting other areas of the city out as well. Any questions? Okay, 37 through 39. Oh, was there a question?
I was just going to call those items ready. You can keep going.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Counselor. Item 37 through 39 is another TIP project. It's our TAP project to do creek walk maintenance on the creek walk maintenance bridge and the original asphalt creek walk north of Spencer Street. We're just amending the bond authorization, the agreement with New York State DOT, and the project authorization to add $10,000 for right-of-way costs. This project is 80% reimbursement with 80% state funding. Not eligible for Marchicelli. Any questions on that? Okay, 40 through 42 is a third TIP project, one where we're in the process of executing our agreement with the contractor, and this is the Solar Street project, where we're milling and paving from south of Bear all the way up to Hiawatha Boulevard. There's some pedestrian improvements that the state was going to do along Bear Street at Solar Street, but instead they asked us for better coordination if we would take on that portion of the work. So we're asking to amend the cost of those improvements by amending the bond ordinance, the agreement with New York State DOT, and the project authorization by $40,000 for a total cost of $1.982 million. And this is all 100% reimbursable. So they're just reimbursing us an additional $40,000 to do the pedestrian improvements for them on Bear Street. Any questions on that? And that work is probably going to be starting relatively soon.
Thanks, Mary. That's been long awaited on the north side too. I appreciate that. They appreciate it too.
Yes. Thank you.
33 is being held. All other items are ready. And thank you, Madam President. Those are my items.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Hogan.
Thank you, President Hudson. I have items 43, 44, and 45. Imagine the commissioners on. Number 43 is the application to sort of allocate money from repairs of Meacham Ice Rink to be used in Burnett Park Pool. Correct, Commissioner?
It's to amend it. It's to amend a previous application. The funds were going to Meacham, that the funds can no longer go to that. The repair was done. There's a balance of funds left. So we have requested to amend the balance to be used for the repairs we'd like to make at Burnett Park Pool.
Thank you. And then go on, Commissioner.
Okay, item number 44 is our annual waiver for lifeguards. This number is high. It's never a number that we get to, but we also just don't want to limit ourselves. We are hiring right now. We are anticipating opening 7 out of 8 of our outdoor pools, the 8th being Burnett because it needs the repairs. I don't know what that number will be yet because we're not done hiring for the season, but again, we have never gotten to that 100 number, and we do always take residents first when they meet the requirement with first aid or lifeguarding certification.
Any questions? Thank you. Number 45 is a resolution of mine to appoint Mr. Harry Pratt of Fowler High School and Syracuse University, and currently a law student, to my position at the Citizen Review Board for his second council district representative. Thank you.
Thanks, Counselor. Counselor Majuk.
Thank you, Madam President. I have item 46 to 50. Item 46 will be held and eventually will be withdrawn on Monday, as the department has changed their mind. They are no longer going to pursue the contract. So item 47, Chief Raynette, are you in?
Hey, Councilor Majo, can we go back to that though?
Yes.
So is somebody here to explain it? I see Cecil on.
I can
Right.
explain. I'm kind of confused myself, Counselor. We didn't withdraw this. You did. I know we talked on the phone about going down from 8 officers and 2 sergeants to 2 officers and 1 sergeant, which would be not only a public safety concern, but an officer safety concern. You didn't seem willing to push this forward. It is not us that are trying to withdraw this.
So I had asked for some amendment, and you told me that the chief has decided not to pursue it.
Not to pursue the amendment that you wanted, which was to lower the number of officers to make it a public safety and officer safety issue. We certainly would like to move forward with the original MOU and the number of officers we put down there. If there's other amendments, Counselor, that I'm unaware of, let me know. We'll work on it. But that was, I think, the only change you wanted, and we were unwilling to do that for those reasons.
Okay. All right. That was not my understanding when we spoke. Okay, Madam
Chairman
President.
Joe, I have a brief question on that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Chief Cecil, what would happen to the Armory Square detail should the agreement not be approved? Would you still staff it?
We would, without a doubt, staff it, Counselor, and the city would pay the 100% of the cost. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, but from my understanding, the downtown committee had committed to paying a portion of it, correct?
They have 50% of it. Yep.
And that's at how many officers?
It would be Friday, Saturday, 11 to 3 a.m. and it's 8 officers and 2 sergeants for those 2 days, each day.
So a total of 10.
And you absolutely,
Right, Chief.
Correct. That's correct. It would be 10. Yep.
and you guys absolutely needed the 10 officers down there.
Yes, we do. I mean, there could be some negotiation down to another number, but nowhere. If we put 2 officers and 1 sergeant down there, you'd have, after one disturbance, you'd have officers coming out of the neighborhoods, going down to assist those officers. I know all of you have been down there on a Friday, Saturday night. When something happens, it's large. So it would draw, what would happen is it would draw officers out of the neighborhoods to assist those officers that are trying to deal with a major disturbance.
And that's, Councilors, my logic in that is I'm not in a position of wanting to move this item forward without that amendment. And I was very specific. If anyone want to pick it up, just like the way we usually do, I'm willing for anyone else to pick it up, but not through me.
So, Councilman Joe, can I ask you a question, or even anybody on the Public Safety Committee? Was this an agreement that all of the Public Safety Committee members had share? Was this a perspective that you all shared?
I had asked for the amendment, yes, but they.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying that the rest of the Public Safety Committee that sits on your committee share your thoughts on this.
Speaking for myself, Madam President, I did not understand that we were going to be withdrawing the amendment. I think there was some concern about whether or not it needed to be staffed via overtime, but I wasn't aware that he was seeking to reduce the number of officers on the detail.
Yes, I had asked for, Madam President, just to add a little bit, I had asked for the amendment and to present the amendment, and the department wasn't willing to make the amendment. And my understanding was that if to move it forward, I wanted those amendments.
And I hear what you're saying. You're saying you, but there's a whole committee. Was the committee on board with removing this off of the agenda?
No, Madam President, the removing from the agenda came up today, as my understanding was that they were no longer going to pursue through the contract. That's why I said on Wednesday we are going to remove it. But in terms of removing completely, it's not something we all agreed. But because they told me that they were no longer going to pursue the contract, that's why I say we will remove it Wednesday, but we're not removing it.
But I keep hearing you say me. There's 4 people that sits on that committee. And I think 4 folks should be agreeable to what you're saying.
Right. No, I agree. I agree. We were all aware that there's some need of, there's a need and to answer some certain questions.
So I'm just going to ask.
We were all aware of that.
So instead of withdrawing, and I'm going to ask to hold it, I'm going to ask the Public Safety Committee to come back together before one person makes a choice on withdrawing something from the agenda.
Madam President, it appeared that there was a miscommunication. I get what Councilman Majonka is saying. He thought that by saying they wouldn't sue, he thought they meant the legislation. What the chief just clarified was he meant the amendment, not the legislation. That's why Councilman Majonka said it's not now being withdrawn. But he also stated that he asked for the amendment, so he's essentially saying it doesn't have his vote without it. He's not willing to move it. So that, just to clarify, I don't think it's his effort to withdraw it at this moment. That was the confusion and the communication. If I could state for the record, though, this has always been a normal operation of reimbursement from the downtown committee. You know, it's quite a crowd down there, that's for sure. And so, you know, if we could find some solution, we certainly would need it. Those crowds, I was passed through there this past weekend. It's always lively. That's all I have to say about that.
So Councilman Majok, you're just gonna hold it, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
And just to be clear again, the withdrawal came because as I said, my understanding was that the police was not going to pursue it. So eventually we are going to withdraw it if there's no need for this contract on Wednesday, but it wasn't for today. Okay. So I'm going to hold it. I'm going to hold it for Wednesday.
Could
Item
I,
47.
go, Councilor
I-
Majok, can I just
yes.
ask for further clarification, maybe from the chief? Chief, this has always been an overtime detail, correct?
That's correct.
So the choice was either, and you were always going to schedule it, no matter who pays for it, and the city or half paid by the downtown committee.
Correct.
Okay, so this is always, so this is an extra detail we've had for years, and I remember years ago, I think even the restaurant owners obviously used to pay some of it years ago, but obviously they can't now coming out of the pandemic, but okay, thanks for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Any other question on that item before we move on?
Not a question, Councilman Majok, but just a statement of clarification, just so that we're all understood. The real difference here is between paying full price and half price. I think that's the thing that has to be understood.
I prefer half price.
Wood Driscoll.
Anything else? Item 47, Raynette.
Good afternoon, councilors. Thank you for the opportunity. We have item number 46, which has to do with our outside counsel legal bills. We previously had a budget of 11,000, and we exceeded that amount, and we need to move it to 15,000 because we have had several negotiations over this fiscal year that required us to utilize our outside counsel on many occasions as it related to policies and procedures, processes and things of that nature. And so we need to increase that amount to 15,000.
Any questions?
I just have a brief question. Who's handling that legal work?
Bousquet Holstein handles it, and they have always handled our legal work. The particular attorney in the office that represents us is Ryan Souser. He took over after Harry Williams passed away, who was our longtime attorney prior to that point. And so they are well-versed in the aspects of the CRB and the issues that we have had over the years. So it was better for us to continue that same legal relationship than to try to get somebody up to speed as it relates to that. And that's the reason why the mayor's office agreed to waive the RFP before as it relates to this.
Understood. Ryan's an excellent attorney.
Thank you. It has been beneficial. We have made much progress thanks to being able to utilize our outside counsel over this fiscal year. And we intend to keep using him as long as we have funding.
Renette, when was the last time we had an RFP on this?
I am not sure. Bousquet Holstein was the attorney that we had, again, prior to me starting here. So I believe there must have been an RFP process prior to that point, but I am not sure. But again, given the nature of the CRB and the intricate as it relates to it. It is imperative to keep it with someone who understands the ins and outs and the history of it than to try to, again, get somebody up to speed. I do understand fiscally, we try not to waive RFPs and we try to make sure that we are looking for people. They are a local firm. We also did make sure prior to this point that we did, they have changed their application per se related to the ban the box that was required by the city auditor. So they have done everything that the city has pretty much required in order to continue to work with us. And it has been, again, beneficial for us as we've been trying to move forward through these challenging times.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Raina. Chief Cecil, is it you or Janet for 48?
I believe 48 is probably going to be DC Schaaf. He's got the best angle on it, I think.
Okay. Is he in?
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Deputy Chief Schaaf. Yeah, we're looking for permission to enter into an agreement with the United States Department of Justice to apply for a grant, a COPS grant. There's no local match required for our officer mental health and wellness team that we're just now forming. Some of the items that we can use is for peer support, training, family resources, suicide prevention, and we have the grant before us now, and we're just starting to work our way through it to get more specifics. But there's no match, and we're requesting permission to enter into this agreement.
Any questions?
Yes, I'm not against mental health, period, because folks need a whole lot of mental health. But let me ask you this, I don't want to call you Chief, Deputy Chief Schaaf. So the police officers don't use help people as well? Can they use help people?
Yes, we have access to all those services.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you. Item 49.
49, I think that 49, that one is yours, Janet, correct?
Yeah, this one is mine. This is a bomb squad initiative grant that the county applied on behalf of our region, including our request in their application. The people that were handling it at the police department didn't realize that we needed to go to council for that because we weren't the applicant. So now we do receive our own contract from the Department of Homeland Security. So we have to obviously have an ordinance before entering into an agreement. So that's what we're coming to you asking if we can accept that contract for that bomb squad application.
Any questions?
So Janet, the way I'm reading it, I'm full of them today. The way I'm reading it is, it was 2019, so we've already accepted that, right?
No, we have not. It's 2019 money. It's leftover money from 2019 that they are reallocate, that they, sometimes when there's money left from programs, they just put it out again. It's just 2019 money is what it
Okay,
is.
so we didn't move forward and come back to ask.
We
Okay.
did not. No, I have the contract arrived, nothing has been signed. Well, I'm just waiting for your approval before we go any further.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, item 50.
Item 50, again, DC Schaaf has been working on this grant, so he's got the best insight.
So this is another request to enter into an agreement. This is with the New York State Department of Homeland Security Emergency Services. This is a grant for $100,000, not to exceed $100,000 to hire a consultant to help us set this program up. There's no local match required. So just what this program is Rochester has a model now, and New York State would like us, the Department of Homeland Security would like Syracuse Police Department to be our region's lead agency on this, getting Buffalo and Albany involved as well. What this project does is it takes a group of local people from all different walks like the district attorney, U.S. Attorney's Office, law enforcement agencies, institutions of learning from K through higher education, mental health, domestic violence, youth services, major industry in your area, and you form a panel or a team. There's training involved, and you try to look for and identify risk. If you're, for an example, if you were to have somebody that you think might become a mass shooter or something along those lines, then you try to get the person intervention and services prior to this jumping off and becoming a major issue. We're early in this stage as well. Next week, Lieutenant Williams and I are making a field trip to Rochester to sit through one of their board meetings where they sit down and actually go through the exercise. They have a couple cases that they're going to talk about, so we get a better grasp of exactly how it works. But it's really just a conglomeration of everybody you can think of to try to minimize and reduce potential mass casualty violence incidents.
How long is it for, Deputy Chief Shaw?
Well, so it's forever, but this grant here is just to help us get it set up right. The big lift is to get it set up in the beginning. Over whatever the course of the grant is, fiscal year 21, I think. You can help me on that one, Janet. But so we're asking for the money to help us get it set up because the heavy lift is in the beginning. Once the panel's up and running, it's just going to cost the department a few hours a week of somebody's time. But the heavy lift is getting the thing set up and running, because now somebody has to be the one to reach out to all these different agencies and pull this team together. And they're asking us, the state's asking us to do that.
So it's using it until it's finished?
Councilman Joe, it's a 24-month grant.
Okay.
That's what I believe. I'm checking it right now. I'll let you know if it's different.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
Of course there is. I just want to ask one quick question. Deputy Chief Shaw, I'm reading it and it talks about terrorism. And I do know that there has been some insurrectionist people found in our city. Are we going to actually use this to try to, because there's more here. Are we going to use this for identification of our terrorists here?
So, yeah, I mean, everything's on the table, right? That's the whole idea, is to prevent mass casualty incidents along the lines of the insurrection or any kind of, workplace violence, where somebody goes and shoots the place up or sets bombs. The idea is to identify these people and intervene ahead of time.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? That's all my item, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Allen.
Madam President, I have items 51 to 53. 51 is for an access easement, which provides the city access to the shorelines of Webster Pond and also access to the rear portion of the Rand track from Valley Drive. And this agreement is with Anglers Association of Onondaga. Am I missing anything, Mr. Clifford, with that one, with 51?
No, Councilor Allen, that pretty much summed it up. This the city owns a large parcel of land behind Webster's Pond, and this would allow us access over the anglers' properties to those lands that we own. Okay. And this is sort of in conjunction with an item a couple down from that, the sale of the abandoned portion of Sanford Avenue to the anglers, which is also lands over which this easement would allow us to have access. Are there any questions?
Not a question, Commissioner. I just want to thank you for working together with the law department to bring this to where it is now. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So that will take care of item 51 and 53. So I'll jump back to 52, and 52 is just.
I just actually had a question about 53, if we're moving from that.
Oh, go ahead.
Yep, sorry, just with the Anglers Association and that lot that they're purchasing, are they developing that, or that's just them to have access to Webster's Pond? Are they just maintaining it, or are they intending on developing on that land as well?
My understanding is that they're going to take a portion of that land and swap it with an adjoining property owner. I think they do have plans to do some construction there. Maybe not right on this parcel, but on parcel they currently own. I think that's the plan going forward.
Yeah, Councilor Kearney, Commissioner is correct. That's my understanding too. The neighbor next to their property has a property that reach all the way into their property. By them acquiring this property, it allow them to swap so that their property run connected. Right, Commissioner? So
That's
that
correct.
they can do the construction that they need to do without having to interfere or having to have a crooked or cut from one property and off from another property. So it's just to create some consistency in a property line.
That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Joke. All right, so item 52 is for permission. This is just the property owner is adding an exhaust hood duct right on to East Fayette Street. I did look on Google Maps just to see like exactly where it would be. And I know it's like in the right of way, but then I also did look at the other information that was submitted, so it doesn't look like it's like a safety hazard or there's no concern for the general public right there on that sidewalk. So I didn't have any further questions or comments, but if anyone else does, they can do so at this time. Councilor Driscoll, you were fine? Okay. All righty, so those are my items. So all of those will be ready for Monday.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Green.
Thank you, Madam President. Items 54, 55, 56 are waiver items relating to the proposed municipal sidewalk program. We did have a committee meeting on that yesterday. So if there's any further questions, I know the administration is pulling together some data related to questions the councilors had out of that committee meeting. But if there's any questions that councilors didn't get to yesterday or anyone that didn't attend, you can feel free to ask now.
No additional questions, Councilor. Just to Corey, based on what we discussed, is it possible that we have something ready by Monday?
That's the goal I'm working towards. So that's my plan.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions, then those are my waiver items.
Thank you. I need a motion to adjourn, to move to executive session.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All righty. I'll see you guys over in executive session. Because I know Counselor Bay had to leave and get his child, and so did Counselor Allen. And Counselor Paniagua was not here, so that's 3. There's only 10 of us, so we need to make sure. I'm trying to see who didn't come back. Pat Hogan.
Connie should have been here, but I think that's
Carney and Pat.
yeah, Connie and Pat.
Need one more, right?
Need one more.
Yes, we need one more. James, hit Pat Hogan off and tell him to come on.
I was just doing that.
Thank you, sir.
Tell him to bring chocolate milk too.
Let's not have that conversation again. You know it is horses hooves.
No, you got, Madam President, you gotta make me reconsider my chocolate milk
That's
routine.
what stopped me from drinking it. That's why I stopped drinking it. So
Oh,
we got enough. Sorry, Counselor Carney, but we got to end this meeting. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Jimmy, I'm here.
A motion to adjourn, Pat Hogan.
Okay, so Pat, we got a motion to adjourn. So can I get you to second it?
Yes, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All righty, guys. See you guys later.